Just when you thought payment processors like Visa and MasterCard couldn't get any worse, they have officially gone mask off in their total control of the internet, gaming, anime, and everything else in between. So let's read this post by an official Visa representative. Gaming is no longer just play. It's culture, community, and commerce. Gen Z and Gen Alpha spend more time gaming than on any other media. At Visa, our mission is to uplift everyone, everywhere, by being the best way to pay and be paid. Now we're bringing that purpose into the gaming ecosystem. As Director, Global Gaming Partnerships, you'll lead the charge in building transformative collaborations with publishers, platforms, leagues, and creators, and reimagining how payments power the future of play. This role is about more than partnerships. It's about, number one, building global strategies that unlock new opportunities for players and partners alike. Number two, driving innovation where gaming and commerce collide. Number three, championing economic empowerment in one of the fastest growing cultural movements on the planet. If you're passionate about gaming, inspired by culture, and you're ready to make an impact on a global scale, we want you on our team. I think anyone that just listened to that already sees what's wrong here. First off, this is the same company that has censored Steam, has censored Itch, has censored Japanese sites, has censored a Japanese dating site. They are individuals that have been rampant with their control on the internet in just different cultures, gaming and anime and manga communities. They actively support Roblox, while in the same turn, they will shut down Steam from even having adult games. They are the same company that will bully other smaller companies or businesses into either threatening to debank them or force them to censor themselves, or they make no money. Visa is very shady, very sus, and in the last month and a half, they have been called out on a global scale. There is multiple petitions, like in the Canadian government, in Australia, in the US, I believe there's some in the UK as well. There is multiple petitions calling out Visa and MasterCard and payment processors. And it seems like with how global and widespread and mainstream this information has gotten, it seems like Visa is no longer trying to really be subtle about it. They are completely masked off and just being like, yeah, we are the baddies, we are the villains, and what are you going to do about it? You can't stop us, we're too strong, we have too much money. That's pretty much what they're saying. And so, let's get into what this post actually means and why it's actually a bad thing. First off, we need to talk about this little section here, reimagining how payments power the future of play. Payments power the future of play. Reimagining. The only way to really take that is a few different ways. For one, obviously, payments in terms of like maybe microtransactions to pricings of games to potentially just making it difficult to sell certain games if you don't follow along with what Visa wants you to do. It's very clear that Visa is trying to insert itself into gaming culture. There's already evidence that payment processors have been doing this for a while. I've talked about this like a week and a half ago, but as we know, back in a 2024 summit meeting at GamesBeat, we literally had someone that was trying to make this game called Take Us North, which I already talked about and so many other content creators talked about, but it was a game romanticizing and trying to encourage illegal immigration into the United States, and we had one of the people that were behind it, backing it, and speaking out for it. They were in a meeting with MasterCard. You can literally see it right here. So it's very clear that these payment processors have been trying to seek their claws and teeth into gaming for a while now, gaining control of these activist groups or these companies that are trying to push propaganda or agenda, and so this is more or less another major step for Visa to take control. And like I said, they're not even trying to be subtle anymore. The fact that we've had a bunch of different, let's say, accounts and different sites now just directly hit by Visa after everything that's happened, and it's so public now, it's like they're pretty much saying, we're too rich to really be hurt at this point, because the only people that could really rein them in now is honestly an antitrust lawsuit on a global scale. An antitrust lawsuit from countries, the government itself. And when you have a lot of these governments that are potentially in bed or in deep with some of these representatives at Visa or MasterCard, what can you really do? It makes a lot of sense why you have like Steam going belly up, for instance, just like, I'll kiss your boot, master, I'll kiss your boot and all that, and I'll shine it for you because I can't do anything about it. And that's pretty much what Steam did to payment processors. They kissed their boot. And if Steam has been forced to do something like that, then, you know, no other small business really can fight back, at least in the gaming space. So what I'm trying to say here is that Visa has really just shown its true colors. It's been obvious for a while, let's be honest. I've been covering this topic for years at this point, but, this one really just blows me away. So I want to talk about what they're saying here in follow-up posts. So first off, this post was directly listed by Visa on their LinkedIn, account on the LinkedIn site. For those that don't know, it's like an official site, you know, to list your overall resume, what you've done over the years and stuff like that. It's a lot of big wigs and big officials and stuff list their stuff on there. And this is a direct listing for a job opportunity by Visa, which is called the Director of Global Gaming Partnerships, which was posted, as you could see when the screenshot was taken, 20 hours ago, and the location would be in San Francisco, California. Go figure. But one of the big things that really is getting a lot of people's attention is the overall pay. I want to point out that the payment of this position is literally pretty much up to $250,000 per year, which is just, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, the amount of money that these people are making by controlling everything higher up, just, it's actually insane. But even if we disregard that, we go into the next stuff, this is what the job description is, what they say literally on LinkedIn, which follows up with what that official representative Visa was saying. The global video game industry is experiencing explosive growth and has become a dominant force in entertainment, culture, and commerce, driven by the deep engagement of Gen Z and Gen Alpha, who spend more time gaming than any other media. These digital native generations see gaming not just as play, but as a social connection, creative expression, and identity. As a result, brands that want to reach and remain relevant with these highly influential audiences must authentically engage with gaming ecosystems. From esports sponsorships to in-game activations and creator partnerships, gaming offers brands unparalleled opportunities to build cultural relevance and long-term loyalty. It's actually insane just how mask off this stuff is. Like, they pretty much admit that, yeah, gaming is a space where a lot of money can be made. They want a piece of that pie. They want to sink their teeth into it. They want to change it to make as much money as possible. And they want to do that by going into sponsorships. They want to have creator partnerships, most likely with Twitch people or people on YouTube, stuff like that, probably Kick. You know, they're wanting to do massive partnerships with the gaming industry, and most likely this is going to have a direct effect on how certain games are made. I mean, once again, I want to point this out that is very relevant to this conversation. Visa and MasterCard were contacted by Collective Shout back in, July. And thanks to them being contacted, it caused Steam to remove hundreds upon hundreds of games, and then obviously it should remove thousands of games. And that's not even talking about the damage, not just to the brands of those two companies, but to the creators. And how so many games are just lost now, because they're adult games. This means that if Visa and MasterCard, and with how arbitrary the rules are and how they could just enforce them at any given whim, and even forcing Steam to add a new policy, this means that they're going directly to the source of games when they're being made and stopping games from being theoretically problematic. That's what they're pretty much doing. Because they realize that if they try to censor it after it comes out, they get a lot of backlash, so to speak. For instance, we've seen what happened in the last month and a half. We had the whole thing with 4chan talking about the situation, calling the representatives a lot, spamming their phone lines. And obviously Visa, MasterCard, they don't like that. They don't want that. They don't want to deal with that. So what better way to get away with censoring content than actually being involved in the very creation of a game or any form of cultural content? Because if they're there at the ground zero inception of the content and funding the content, then obviously you might not hear about if it gets censored or not, because it was censored literally upon the cutting room floor. That is the problem here. What Visa is obviously doing is that they are doing this in a way, in a shady way at that, to be able to get away with censorship, because not a lot of people will be aware of what they're currently doing. I feel like a lot of people are not even aware that MasterCard was literally at a GamesBeat summit, which is insane. Like, why? Why is MasterCard involved so deeply? I know, deeply into gaming culture and trying to shape it and all that. It's just, I mean, we know it's for money, let's be honest. We also have this as well, their job summary, which more or less is the exact same thing, talking about what the job will entail, what you'll have to do, team building skills and stuff like that. But, it's just, dude, you know how we could fight this? And I'm just going to be honest. There is only a few ways at this point that people really can fight this situation. The public obviously can keep talking about it, because if you don't talk about it, then Visa kind of gets away with it. That's what happens. They get away with it. The second thing people can do is obviously call their call centers. There is a reason why MasterCard made a public statement a month ago. It's because their call centers were getting spammed, thanks to 4chan and other people of the internet. I feel like that if you continue to call them, they will be forced to speak out about it. Because for those that are unaware, every call they get at their call center does charge them. Even if it's a few cents, that adds up. It adds up if there's hundreds upon hundreds of people, thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people calling them every single minute, every single day, it will add up money. And obviously these people that are very greedy and like money, they won't like that. They will want to figure out how to stop that. So, in a way, that is one way to fight. But what I think is really going to happen as this continues to boil, as more countries become aware of this and more people talk about it, I think that there's two likely outcomes. Either A, actually three likely outcomes. Either A, Visa, MasterCard payment processors get away with it. They win. That's obviously an option, a scenario I don't think anybody wants, besides Visa and MasterCard. Then. Scenario B. Steam, thanks to everything that's been going on, how public it's gotten, they back off, they allow the course of action to take place through creators. Creators band together, and they collectively sue Visa and MasterCard for what they've been doing. That's a possibility, what Steam is trying to open the door up for, allowing a certain amount of censorship for people will be pissed off enough to try to start a antitrust lawsuit, which that gets to the next one. Scenario C is the governments get involved, which is also likely but unlikely, because a lot of these politicians and stuff are probably embedded with these card companies. But if there is a significant amount of vocal outreach from the public, then someone might try to do an investigation and start an antitrust lawsuit against Visa and MasterCard and payment processors to break them apart, because they're obvious monopolies that operate like a mafia. Like, you know, an actual legal like mafia. That's pretty much how they're operating right now. So I think those are the potential outcomes, that the likely scenarios. There might be a scenario I'm completely unaware of, but it's just insane, man. Like, I'm talking about this because I don't want Visa getting away with this. It's gross, man. It's actually gross how they are just so open about this. I want to thank Smash JT, by the way, for bringing this to my attention and everybody's attention. If it wasn't for him breaking the story first, I wouldn't have been aware of it. So I do appreciate Smash bringing this to everybody's attention. If it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have known about it, and many others wouldn't know about it now thanks to this video and him being able to mention it. But I will say, though, do not let these payment processors silence you. They want you to stop talking about this. They want you to give up. They want you to despair. They don't want you to even know about this situation. Don't let them silence you. Don't let them take away, you know, freedom of expression and being able to express yourself within gaming and all that. Just because it's content you might disagree with, because it's like an icky adult game, doesn't mean that eventually that censorship won't reach you. And as I've already labeled, and we've already seen already through multiple different times now in the last month and a half, it doesn't just stop at the stuff you dislike. It will continue to roll until it hits the things you love dearly. So, like I said, continue speaking up about this because they don't want you to. I'll leave it at that, though. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it as well. Leave a comment. Helps with the algorithm. Be safe, guys. Chibi out.